Hello everyone, this is Dheeraj Suri and I welcome you all in Dheeraj Suri classes. So from today we are starting the discussion of the question paper of IIT GATE Economics 2025, and we are starting from question number 27 because the first 26 questions are from general aptitude. Economics starts from question number 27. So देखिए what does it say? It says that first question 27. In the context of perfectly competitive market, identify the statement that is not correct. We have to find out the statement which is not correct, right? So first one, producing less than competitive output lowers welfare. This is correct because under perfect competition, output should be equal to the point where price is equal to MC. It is competitive output and it is the efficient output as well. If you are producing more than efficiency level or less than efficiency level, then you are creating some inefficiencies. So first one is correct, but our answer has to be something which is not correct. So first is not the answer. Second, producing more than competitive output lowers welfare. Again, this is correct because as I mentioned, we have to produce the output which is efficient output. Any overproduction or underproduction lowers the welfare. It causes inefficiency. So both A and B are correct. So they are not our answer. C is the welfare is dependent on both price and competitive output. Certainly, price should be equal to marginal cost and output should be efficient. This is also correct. So this is not our answer. The last part, if the consumer values the last unit more than the marginal cost of production, producing an additional unit shall lower welfare. No, this is incorrect. If consumer values more than the marginal cost, then certainly we should produce more. Okay, so additional production will not lower the welfare, it will rather increase the welfare because consumer is getting some welfare out of it. The cost of production, the marginal cost of production is less and consumer surplus is in excess of that, so that last unit should be produced, right? So this statement is incorrect. So my answer is option number D. Okay. The next is 28th question. The demand function is given as log Q is equal to log of A plus 0.5 log of P. Q is quantity, P is price, A is positive real number. The own price elasticity of demand is. See, we have studied this in multiple log linear function that the coefficient of log P, in the function log Q is equal to something plus alpha log something plus beta log P. So here this beta 0.5 is the own price elasticity, right? The coefficient of log P is the own price elasticity in the double log model. So 0.5 is the own price elasticity. So since 0.5 is less than 1, so certainly demand is inelastic or less than unit elastic. So D is the right answer. Okay, very simple question. Because see, actually in these kind of questions, if you know the concept, you can directly mark the answer. No calculation is required. Otherwise, you can do the calculation. You just find derivative of quantity with respect to price and put in the formula P by Q into del Q by del P. You will get the same result. But since we know that in double log function, the coefficient of log P is the price elasticity of demand, we can directly apply that. Okay, which one of the following, 29th question, which one of the following is part of unconventional monetary policy? See, when central bank increases money supply and to lower the interest rate, then it is unconventional monetary policy, which is of late been used by Western central banks particularly. Okay, so quantitative easing is increasing money supply. So quantitative easing is the answer. It is a mode of unconventional monetary policy. Repo rate, fractional banking, reverse repo rate. These are the conventional monetary policy tools which central bank often use, right? In fact, our own central bank RBI uses repo rate as a tool in its bi-monthly monetary policy committee meetings. It decides what should be the repo rate, should we increase it or should we decrease it or should we keep it constant. So this is the conventional monetary policy tool. Quantitative easing, increasing money supply is the unconventional. Now 30th question, which one of the following statements is not correct in context of the Keynesian absolute income hypothesis? Which one is not correct? APC plus APS is 1. This is correct. See, what is APC? APC plus APS. APC is C by Y. APS is S by Y. So it is C plus S by Y. C plus S is Y. Consumption plus saving is income. So Y by Y, which is 1. So this is correct. But we have to find which is not correct. So A is not our answer. Then B, marginal propensity to consume is constant. This is also correct because the consumption function is C is equal to C bar plus C1 Y. C1 is the MPC. We assume that MPC is constant. So B is also correct. So B is also not our answer because we have to find something which is not correct. Next it says APC increases as income increases. No, it is false. This is false. This is incorrect. And something which is incorrect is our answer. Why it is incorrect? See, as I mentioned, APC is C by Y. So it is C bar by Y plus C1 Y by Y. Y cancels. C bar by Y plus C1. So now as Y increases, C bar by Y will decrease. C1 is constant. So when a decreasing function is added to constant, the function remains decreasing. So when Y increases, APC falls. So this is the graph of APC. It is decreasing function. So it says APC increases. So it is incorrect. That is why C is our answer. D में क्या कह रहा है? D says that MPC plus MPS is equal to 1. Again, it is correct. MPC plus MPS is equal to 1. We know this thing. So only C is incorrect. So C is the answer. Then 31st question. It says we have a function x times del f by del x plus y times del f by del y plus z times del f by del z should be equal to, okay, x times, what is del f by del x? Derivative of this function is 2x y cube z, 2x y cube z plus y times del f by del y is 3 times x square y square z plus z times del f by del z would be x square y cube. So when you open the brackets, what do you get? You get 2x square y cube z plus 3 x square y cube z plus x square y cube z. So because x square y cube z is common, so we can take it out as constant. 2 plus 3 plus 1 is 6. 6 times x square y cube z. Now x square y cube z is f. So 6f is the answer. 6f. D is the answer. Simple mathematical question. A very simple question from mathematics. I hope you have understood this thing. Now 32nd. Now fx is minus 3x square 1 minus x minus 3x 1 minus x square 1 minus x whole square minus 1 minus x whole cube. What is d fx by dx? I think it will take some time, so मैं इसको अलग से कर लेता हूँ. Minus 3x square 1 minus x minus 3x square 1 minus x. Next is minus 3x 1 minus x whole square minus 3x 1 minus x whole square minus 1 minus x whole cube. I can take 1 minus x common out of this. 1 minus x, in fact minus 1 minus x is common. So I am left with 3x square plus 3x times 1 minus x plus 1 minus x whole square. Now when I adjust this minus in this bracket, I get x minus 1 times 3x square plus 3x minus 3x square. And when you open this bracket, you get 1 plus x square minus 2x. So this 3x square and 3x square are cancelled. So I am left with x minus 1 times 3x minus 2x is x plus x square plus 1. Now I have to differentiate this function with respect to x. df by dx. First as it is, derivative of second is 1 plus 2x plus second as it is, and derivative of first is 1. So we have x plus 2x square minus 1 minus 2x plus x square plus 1. So clearly I can see that this 1 and 1 are getting cancelled. So this x plus x 2x and 2x are also getting cancelled. I am left with 2x square plus x square, 3x square is my answer. So df by dx is 3x square. Very simple question, but मैंने करके दिखाया ताकि you can understand. A is the answer for this. Okay. Now 33. In the context of environmental cost benefit analysis, which of the following statement is or not correct? When it says is or, it means there can be more than one situations which can be our answers. So we have to mark, if there are two situations, we have to mark both of them. If there are three situations, we have to mark three of them. Okay, so be careful about this, that sometimes when it says is or, so there can be more than one answers. It can be a multiple select question, right? So be careful about it. Okay, environmental cost benefit analysis, in the context of environmental cost benefit analysis, which of the following is not correct, is or are not correct? The discount rates do not impact the fixed and variable cost of project, but does impact the perceived benefits in the monetary terms. This is correct. See, actually the cost is something which is not affected by discount rate. When I'm going to take up a project, I have to assess what cost I have to bear, what are my fixed costs, what are my variable costs, what revenue I'll get. Then I'll use a discount rate to find out what net payoff I will be having. Okay, so discount rates are used to find out the net payoff which a person or a firm is going to earn from a certain project. So discount rates are not going to affect the fixed costs, they are not going to affect the variable costs, they are going to affect their present values only. So this is correct. Okay, but we have to find not correct, so this is not our answer. The analysis does not incorporate people's preference for a policy. No, it is incorrect. See, in Delhi, we live in Delhi city. Every year from October to January is a period where we have to face a situation of pollution. So it is general perception that government should do something to save the people from such pollution. So when an environmental policy is being drawn, so people's preferences have to be taken care of. We cannot say that we won't consider the people's preferences. So this is not the correct option. So this is the answer. B is the answer. There can be more than one answers. Okay, let me remind you once again, there can be more than one answer. We have to mark all of them if there are more than one. So B is one of the answers. Then C. The analysis is dependent on the choice of discount rates. This is correct. As I mentioned that when you are going to take up a project, you have to accept or reject the project, you will use the discount rates, and based on that discount you will decide that you are getting a positive cash flow or you are getting a negative net cash flow, and accordingly you will decide. Now these discount rates can be different. Like I can get a loan at the rate of 8%, you can get a loan at the rate of 6%. So your discount rates are different from my discount rates. So they can be different, but everybody will have their own discount rates, and accordingly they will decide whether to accept or reject the project. So C is correct, but we have to find something which is incorrect. So C is not the answer. Now D, it says discount rates are not easily observable and choice is often subject to value judgment. Certainly it is correct. As I mentioned, different people, different firms can have different discount rates, and nobody will tell you what discount rates they have or they are using. Okay, so it is something which is very subjective and it can be different for different people or firms. So D is also correct statement, but we have to find something which is incorrect. So only one statement is incorrect, and that is B. So B is the right answer. And A, C and D are correct statements because they are correct, so they are not our answers. Now 34th. Which of the following statement is are correct in the context of national income accounting? Now again, it says is are means there can be more than one statements which can be our answers, and here it is asking for correct statements. This is the difference. Be careful. You have to find something which is correct or statements which are correct. The first one, gross domestic product is the sum of all factor payments. Actually, gross domestic product is the sum of all factor payments plus depreciation, consumption of fixed capital. So this is incorrect statement. So because we are finding correct statements, so A is not our answer. NDP is equal to GDP minus depreciation. This is correct. NDP is GDP minus depreciation. Certainly, NDP is the difference between gross domestic product and depreciation, consumption of fixed capital. बहुत basic बात है तो. C says GNP is equal to GDP plus net income from. This is also correct. National product is obtained by adding the net factor income from abroad into the domestic product. So this is also correct statement. B and C both are correct. There can be 3 correct statements. There can be 2 correct statements. There can be 1 correct statement. So because when it says is are, so you have to be very careful about it. Next is net national product is equal to gross national product minus gross domestic. No, this is incorrect. NNP is GNP minus depreciation. Same as we did in the part B. NNP is GNP minus depreciation. So D is correct. D is incorrect. We are finding correct statements. Only B and C are correct. So there are 2 answers, B and C. We have to mark both of them. Okay. Now next is consider the following system of linear equations: x plus 2y plus 3z is equal to 0, 2x plus py is equal to 0, 3x plus 2y plus pz is equal to 0. The values of p for which the system of equations have infinitely many solutions is r. Okay. See, this is a system of homogeneous equations. We will find the determinant d of the coefficient values, and if d is non-zero, then system will have trivial solution. X is 0, y is 0, z is 0. But if d is 0, then system will have infinitely many solutions. Okay. So we have to find a situation where d is 0. We have to find d and put that equal to 0. Accordingly, we will get the values of p, values of p, and that will be your answer. So it is x plus 2y plus 3z. X plus 2y plus 3z is 0. मैंने लिखा था यहाँ पे शायद. 2x plus py is 0, and last one is 3x plus 2y plus pz is 0. So discriminant of the coefficients is 1, 2, 3, 2, p 0, 3, 3, 2, p. We expand it, what do you get? 1 times, leave the row of 1, leave the column of 1, we get p square minus 0. Minus 2 times, leave the row of 2, leave the column of 2, you get 2p minus 0. Plus 3 times, leave the row of 3, leave the column of 3, what do you get? 4 minus 3p. So it is p square minus 4p plus 12 minus 9p. So it is p square minus 13p plus 12. Now for infinite solutions, as I mentioned, d should be equal to 0. For infinitely many solutions, d is 0. That means p square minus 13p plus 12 is 0. Now we simply have to factorize this equation. It is very simple thing. We need 2 numbers such that the sum is minus 13 and the product is plus 12. So minus 12 and minus 1. If you add minus 12 and minus 1, you will get minus 13. If you multiply minus 12 and minus 1, you will get plus 12. So p minus 12, p minus 1. This thing you would have learned way back in class 8th or class 9th or probably in class 10th, quadratic equations, right? So now when you put them 0, you get p is 12 or p is 1. So there can be 2 solutions, either p is 12 or p is 1. Let us find out if both of them are available or only one is available. P is 1, p is 12. So there are 2 answers, A and D. In answer A, we have p is equal to 1. In answer D, we have p is equal to 12. So both are the answers. So when p is 1, we will have D 0. So we'll have infinitely many solutions. When p is 12, again we'll have D 0 and we'll have infinitely many solutions. Okay, 36. Which of the following statements is are correct? Again, there can be more than one answers. Now we are finding the correct statements, which is correct. The difference between human poverty index and human development index is that former measure focuses on deprivation. Certainly, see, you have learned poverty as capability deprivations by Amartya Sen, which clearly emphasizes that poverty is a measure of capability deprivation. It is not only a monetary measure. I am poor not in the terms that I have less money. I am poor in the terms of less capabilities. Okay, so poverty is a measure of capability deprivation. So A is correct answer. A is correct. I am finding correct answers. Okay, A is correct. Human Development Index is insensitive to inequalities in the distribution of human development in the population. See, when I say Human Development Index, so I am not considering the inequalities in human development in the population. Certainly, I am not considering that. So, B is also correct answer. C is income based poverty lines are sufficient to capture the well-being of country's citizens. No, income based poverty lines are not sufficient. As we can say that na, poverty is in terms of capability deprivation. So only income is not the criteria. There are many more things which have to be considered when you are trying to find out the well-being of a country's citizens. Maybe there are less options available to the girl child, more options available to the male child. The persons in the age group of 35 to 60, they have more power, they enjoy more resources which are available in the family, and the persons who are above 60 or the persons who are below 20, they are they get less resources. So only income is not the criteria, there are many other things. So C is not correct. Multi-dimensional poverty index considers differences in intra-household distribution. No. Multi-dimensional means when we are trying to find out various other parameters in the income. So it is not about only the families which in the about intra-households. It can be between the various societies or various cultures or various states. So D is also not correct. Only A and B are correct options. Then 37th. 37 says that which of the following statement is are? Again, there can be more than one answers. The key features of India's new economic reforms in 1991. Okay, liberalization of the economy. Certainly, permit Raj, license Raj were abolished. Economy was liberalized. Foreigners were allowed to operate in the company. Well, it happened gradually, but that was the time when the transition started. Okay, privatization of the public sector enterprises. Yes, it started from there. That was the time when privatization started. It is an ongoing process. Till now, it is happening. Till now, government is selling its firms to private sector. It is happening till now, but that was the time when it started. Okay. Complete nationalization of all industries. No. I think that has never happened. Nationalization of banks happened in the rule of Mrs. Indira Gandhi, but complete nationalization of all industries have never happened, because India have been a mixed economy since independence. So this has never happened. C is the incorrect answer. And D is globalization and increased FDI. Yeah, it is also correct, because as I mentioned, that was the time when foreigners were invited to invest in the Indian economy. Many new firms, many new products were launched in India. Okay. So it has three answers: A, B, and D. Now 38. A constant elasticity of substitution CES utility function is given as U is equal to 1 by del Z1 del plus Z2 power del. Z1 Z2 are two goods, del less than equal to 1 or del is not equal to 0. Okay. A quasi-linear utility function is given as U is equal to 2Z1 plus log Z2. Z1 Z2 are two goods. Which of the following statements are not correct? Again, there can be more than one answers, but now I am finding not correct statements. Okay. It says the CES utility function is homothetic, but the QL utility function is non-homothetic. Well, this is a correct statement. Why it is correct? See, you can clearly see that this CES is homogeneous function, and all homogeneous functions are by default homothetic. But this quasi-linear is non-homogeneous. So it is not homothetic. So this is the correct statement, but I am trying to find the not correct statement. So this is not my answer. Because A is correct, I am trying to find out the incorrect statement. So A is not my answer. Then it says for del is equal to 1, the CES unity function is not strictly convex. Again, it is correct. When you say del is 1, the function becomes z1 plus z2. U is z1 plus z2, it represents a straight line. Straight line. When we are dealing with straight line, it is not strictly convex. Because straight line is something which can be convex, which can be non-convex, concave. So it is not strictly convex. So again, this is correct, but I am trying to find out something which is not correct. So B is not my answer. Then it says the marginal rate of substitutions for CES unity function and the quasi-linear unity function are dependent on both Z1, Z2. See, this is also not correct because when you find the MRS of this quasi-linear, what is MRS? MRS is mu1 upon mu2. mu1 is 2 and mu2 is 1 by z2. So 2 z2. So for quasi-linear, it is depending only on z2. It is not depending on z1. It is independent of z1. Okay. It says dependent on both z1 and z2. So this statement is incorrect. I am not finding about the MRS of CES क्योंकि इससे ही काम चल गया. ठीक है. So this is incorrect. So C is my answer. Now, if z1 is equal to z2, MRS is 2 for both CES and QL. Well, if z1 is equal to z2, MRS is not 2. For QL, MRS is 2z1 or 2z2. MRS is 2z2. It is not 2. Okay. So when z1 is equal to z2, either MRS is 2z1 or it is 2z2, but it is 2 times a variable. It is not 2 as a constant number. So again, this statement is incorrect. Again, this statement is incorrect. For QL, it is incorrect. You can find for CS as well. Okay, but because only this is giving me the answer, so there is no point going in that direction, because we have to be very careful and we have to be quick while solving the questions. So because this part is incorrect, so the statement is incorrect. So D is my answer. C and D both are my answers. But मैं कर देता हूँ for the sake of curiosity कि बच्चे बोलें कि sir we want to find MRS for CS as well. Okay, मैं कर देता हूँ. So here U is equal to 1 by del Z1 power del plus Z2 power del. As I mentioned, MRS is mu1 by mu2. So 1 by del into del times Z1 power del minus 1 upon 1 by del into del times Z2 power del minus 1. So del cancelled. I am left with Z1 by Z2 power del minus 1. Now in this case, Z1 Z2 del minus 1. Okay. So for this function, MRS is Z1 by Z2 power del minus 1. Okay. Okay. Now MRS is dependent on Z1 Z2. Yeah, this is correct for CES, but it was incorrect for quasi-linear. So that is why I marked it as incorrect. And now here it says when Z1 is equal to Z2, MRS is 2. No. When Z1 is Z2, they will get cancelled out. MRS will become 1. 1 power something is 1 only, right? So MRS will become 1. So this is incorrect for both, for quasi-linear and for CS as well. So D is incorrect. Both C and D are incorrect. So my answers are C and D. Okay, so now after that we have to solve the questions. The multiple choice questions and multiple select questions are completed here. So we will continue with the next portion, the solution questions in the next lecture. I hope you have understood all these things. If there is something which you want to discuss with me, so you can join the doubt session or you can WhatsApp me at the number mentioned. I will solve your queries, right? Okay. Thank you. Goodbye. Take care.